love Berserk. I'm just a Berserk guy. I go Berserk. I like to go gorilla mode on a pussy. You know what I mean? You guys are feeling me. You're smelling the taint I'm stepping in. Don't try to pretend you're not. Dude, the most hated villain ever in anime and manga, made by the Masked Man. I'm very excited to see what's going on here. Let's get into it. If I...
An audience's hatred.
I gotta turn the goddamn volume on if I gotta figure this shit out.
What would a character have to do in order to be the object of an audience's hatred for over 30 years? Would most likely have to be a being of indescribable horror, grotesque in appearance even, or just another European twink. It is tricky talking about Griffith, not because of the people who defend him, since those are just people trying really hard to be different while ignoring half of what gives the character his identity. But if not, this is like the 47th time I've gone into the character, but I want to make this the video I do on Griffith as a character.
Dude, 47th? You've done 47 videos on Griffith? I think he's exaggerating. I'm pretty sure he's exaggerating. I mean, that's a lot of videos to do on a guy that just likes to pump and dump on without consension constantly. Consension. That's not the right term. Consent. Consent. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I feel like I just went full retard. Never go full retard.
And what truly makes him special after all these years. Being hated when you are in the role of antagonist and or villain is ideal. Would rather the audience feel strongly about you in a negative sense than to feel indifferent. The ultimate heel like Triple H. One can make a villain sympathetic, or a mix of both of course, but if you want to make a character the object of an audience's wrath, make them hate who they are, not how they're written. There are other antagonists and villains that have done things to label them irredeemable, or vile if you will, but I would say none make you feel as strongly or as hated as this man. When Griffith is first introduced in the Black Swordsman arc, he is shown to be the object of Guts' quest for revenge, but all there is to him is that and the mystery as to why. At the very early stage in the narrative, there is a detachment with Guts' sentiments and ours in regards to Griffith. The floodgates are closed for the time being, preventing us from feeling the water, if that makes sense. That aspect of being disconnected from the character is an apt description of Griffith's very own dynamic with the Band of the Hawk. None of them are really aware to the fullest extent of who Griffith really is, with only Judo having a good observation, as Judo seems to be really good at reading people. Hell, even choked down his true feelings for Casca, being aware of what she and Guts had. Guts, who from the very start refused to see Griffith in the same exalting way and others did, and Casca, who has seen Griffith in vulnerable states far before Griffith entered the picture. I want to really look at what these characters have to say, and the moments Griffith is not just the White Falcon, the symbol, but if not the man. Because before we can look at the moment that caused us to hate him for as long as we live, we first have to look at the qualities that made us forget the betrayal was even coming. The positive traits to his personality that make him intriguing, admirable, and even likable. The number one thing that is evident in Griffith von Leif Erikson, yes, that's his full name, take my word for it, don't look it up, he is ambitious. And somebody who knows what they want in life and are determined and willing to do what it takes to make it come true is inspiring. You are drawn.
So there's this thing about ambition. Ambition is a great thing to have as a person. It's something that we all should want to have. It's to aspire to. We want to be ambitious creatures. I mean, what's worse than just sitting in your living room watching videos that other people made and not doing anything? But anyways, it's one of those things that you want to keep pushing forward. You want to keep excelling as a human being. And there's something about Griffith and his thing that his ambition is good, but it also can be bad when you're willing to take down everyone around you in order to create the dream that you want to fulfill so hard. When you want to lay your jizz pipe machine on top of other people's foreheads in order to accomplish your goals, Harvey Weinstein, you really can't. You're not that guy, dude. Don't be that guy. Ambition is good as long as you're not hurting other people around you, basically. That's the basic jizz of it all.
Drawn to that fire and it keeps you warm for a while. Ambition can be a very good thing, as seen with many other characters, but often, as is the case with those characters, they have a downfall.
BetterHelp's main mission as a brand.
Well, I don't know if they have a downfall, because, like, again, ambition is good, and as long as you keep pushing forward, I don't think it's really a downfall as much as it's as much as it's like, I don't know, since I don't ever feel like ambition is a downfall. I feel like ambition is great, and then like a lot of times the characters that are good, the difference between characters like Griffith, who upon the first downward trending thing that didn't go his way decided to go fucking hog in the cheeks, all these other characters, when they hit a low point, realize that that is their time, that they need to hit that grind set a little harder, start watching some Andrew Tate videos, and then watch that speech from Rocky where he's like, hey, when you get knocked down, you get back up and keep fighting. You know that speech? So that's the difference, bro.
Griffith's goal, and that it being a neutral thing is some sort of who knows what they want in life and are determined and willing to do what it takes to make it come true, is inspiring. You are drawn to that fire and it keeps you warm for a while. Ambition can be a very good thing, as seen with many other characters, but often, as is the case with those characters, they have a downfall. Griffith is ambitious to a fault. Every other interaction and conversation he is a part of is towards his goal of having a kingdom. I've seen this comment a lot about Griffith's goal, and that it being a neutral thing is some sort of justification for his actions. He cannot be held under judgment of evil since his desire is not an evil thing. You see, I would say that's a pretty good point, if it wasn't, terrible. Griffith's ambition for his kingdom, that statement indeed is neutral. In a vacuum, that has no good or evil. But what if I told you I really wanted to win a race, and that would also be neutral? But then you found out that I had cheated in every single form imaginable to win said race, instead of training and doing it the honorable way. My victory is now tainted by my actions. No one who argues the flaw with Griffith has an issue with his goal. The action that leads to the finish line is where the sentiments of disdain...
See, I don't like his analogy there. The better analogy would have been, what if I started the race, but right before the race started, everyone exploded into gibs, and then I just decided to sex the last guy down. I just pinned him down and just like plastered his asshole so he couldn't run anymore, and then I finished the race by myself. That's the better comparison to what Griffith did. That's a way, because like cheating's one thing, it's like bad. It's bad. We all know it's bad. It's like skipping corners. Oh yeah, I didn't train enough. I didn't do enough reps, or I could have won the race. So that's like small apples compared to killing everyone and then just like raping someone. I don't know. I feel like those are very wild. The analogy could have worked. Again, it's just you gotta murder everybody and then have your way with somebody unconsensually to hit the same level of depravity this man did.
Come from. His ability to see everything that isn't his goal is beneath him and not of equal importance, even if it's the lives and freedom of others. Be it his enemies, lovers, soldiers, closest friends. Even if his personality can be deduced as self-absorbed, his goal remains a neutral or slightly positive one if you try to spin it that way, but his ambition, which drives him to use any shortcut and cross any moral boundary, makes it an ambition that burns others away and inevitably will turn the very man possessed by it into ash. I do believe the greater good argument could be used for other characters who do negative actions to bring about a positive outcome overall. Griffith cannot fall under that umbrella, as he is...
Guts is a great example of that. Guts, you see in the early chapters of Berserk that Guts is like angry. He's big edgy boy. Bro just has all edge. He is Postal 1 energy. He's not Postal 2. He is Postal fucking 1. Everybody's the bad guy. He's just there. Life sucks, dude. He's got 3 Doors Down blaring in his El Camino. He's wearing all black. And at times you will see the humanity poke through. I've said it a million times, when he lets that girl stab him, you see the pain in his eyes. You're like, fuck, dude. I spit on myself a little bit. Oh, God, I'm coming. But you see the humanity build up there, and it's what makes him a brilliant character, because he might do some really undesirable things, but it's an undesirable world. Griffith is just a piece of shit.
Is a character who commits an ungodly amount of evil to satisfy his own selfish needs and goals, regardless of whether it benefits other people or not. Still, the interactions that paint the picture of an ambitious and driven person are prevalent with the characters he shares no intimacy with. That's just him in general. But the moments we really get to see and get close with Griffith is in his second trait. He is a guilt-ridden and disturbed individual. This is where I want to first point to the scene where Casca sees Griffith bathing himself while trembling after seeing him the night before being with medieval P. Diddy. Here the story pulls us in, making us close to the character by showing us that Griffith is indeed at one point a human being.
Hold on. Before you pay for it,
Dude, I always forget that he was he literally sucked and fucked his way to the top. Bro was on that Kamala Harris grind before Kamala Harris, dude. Dude was like, how do I get to the top? How do I do it? How do I do it? Dude, I gotta suck Diddy's cockadoodle. A cockle-doodle in my mouth. That's all he, and then he was like obviously all fucked up about it because he was like, this sucks, dude. I don't want to be the Lord plaything. But kind of looking back, good.
Remorse and feelings, at least this early on.
That's a fucked up statement. I don't think that this should have happened to him, obviously. I think this led to worse things, but what he did was so much more deplorable than just him whoring himself out, because he was whoring himself out, and this is like, oh no, the consequences of my own actions type energy, which is like, fucked, yes. Kind of his own fault because of his ambition, also yes.
As the symbol of idolization has the curtains pulled back as it was for Casca here, now it is for us, the audience. Griffith catches Casca staring at him in concern. Why not join me? It feels nice. Casca goes to run away, and this is where we get vulnerability from who we believe to be unfazed and untouched. Am I dirty? Casca hesitates and then asks Griffith why was he with that man alone. Granted, for a little bit of context real quick, this is in a scene after Guts had saved Casca, and they're in this cave together, and she's opening up to Guts about her frustrations with him and why it's difficult for her that Griffith seems to be so close to Guts, as she's tried to be close to Griffith but always feels like she's never really had that opportunity, explaining to Guts who Griffith really is, because up to this point in the story, we have the great symbol that is Griffith, but here we get the revelation of how he actually is. Going back to the flashback scene, Griffith doesn't respond, and she attempts to cope and suggest it's something else, but Griffith admits it's what she truly thinks happened. He says money. An army consumes so much money just being. Men, horses, equipment, provisions. None of it's free, and the Band of the Hawk will grow larger and larger. It has to. For that too, we need a vast amount. War funds. In any case, I seem to appeal to that old man, and I was interested in his fortune. Our interests coincided. Casca disagrees with his actions, saying they would eventually raise enough, but Griffith believes it would take too long, and every battle he loses more troops. Casca wonders if it was because of the boy Griffith expressed somber sentiments over dying earlier. He says no. I thought about it logically. To go into battle and lose hundreds of soldiers or seduce one old man. Which is the lesser risk? Casca, listen. I don't feel at all responsible for my comrades who've lost their lives under my command. I guess they themselves choose to fight. That's just the way I am. But if for their lives, for the sake of the dead, if there's something I can do, that thing is to win. I'll keep winning to fulfill my dream to which they clung, putting their lives on the line. My dream can only be realized by building upon their corpses. It's a blood-smeared dream after all. I have neither regret nor remorse about that. But for hundreds, thousands of lives to hang in the balance and myself alone not to be unclean, what I want won't enter my grasp as easily as that. I think this scene shows the humanity still heavily present in Griffith early on during his campaign.
I don't think that's humanity at all, bro. But listen, I might be the fucking guy over here saying some shit. I think this scene made him look like a complete fucking psychopath. Now, there is some logical shit behind this, and it is showing him break down. But you can also look at it another way. When you see like this evil in his eyes, bro, you can see like the precursor to what he eventually does. It's almost like he in his own mind, he's willing to destroy every piece of humanity of himself in order to accomplish his goals, because they themselves are not logical. Emotions are not logical. Only thing that is logical is logic. Boom, I'm a fucking scientist. I'm a fucking linguistic master over on this beach. Drop the bass. That's what I'm over here doing, dude. It's like, how can you see it? Like, I get it. It's like, oh, dude, you should feel bad because he's like cutting his arm with his nails, dude. He's feeling something. Yeah, but he's trying to push that shit so far deep down because he's trying to like get this super army to become king or whatever. He's a fucking clown, dude.
Someone who realizes this isn't a game like when he was playing on the streets, wishing to have a kingdom, but now understands the price to pay in order to accomplish the impossible as fast as possible. Someone who is bothered by the lives lost for his dream and feels disgusted by the actions he takes in general, but he's willing to suffer and endure the pain, slowly killing off those feelings of remorse and separating himself from his humanity if he has to. Because what matters most is the goal, the dream. He's going to use the dead as fuel to drive him, and he will climb.
I really need to watch the 1996 or 7 anime of Berserk. I've only watched the Golden Age arc. That's the only one I've watched, but I really need to rewatch it, or not rewatch, watch this shit.
More corpses if he has to. Still, at this point, it would be inaccurate to describe him as purely evil. That is the nuances to his character. Instead, a man who is willing to get dirty and bathe in blood for his kingdom. There is another word that was emphasized in the dialogue I do want to point out to as well, and that is alone. Griffith, because of his position and actions, is isolated, with no one he can truly be himself around and be simply a human being and not the leader of the Band of the Hawk. As you can even see with the scene, as Casca tries to delve a little deeper into it, once he sees her reaction, he kind of shuts her out, but more on this later. Griffith, as he continues to chase his dream, will have to grow more desensitized to the evil he may have to witness or most likely commit himself, and will have to continue to keep up a facade to serve as the perfect symbol of inspiration to his men, a reality that he will try to ignore but bothers him deep down. Even in future scenes where he should be more cold and more desensitized, he will still ask Guts if his actions are cruel, showing that throughout the Golden Age arc we are seeing a man discarding as much of his humanity as necessary, but not completely wanting to lose it. The third positive trait is his charisma, the thing that allows him to use people with ease and advance his plans, be it with members of the Hawk gaining favor with the king, and if not more importantly, favor with Charlotte, a way to use her and marry his way into a kingdom. Judo gives the most accurate description of Griffith and people's perception of Griffith before the eclipse, after admitting it's Griffith's charisma that attracted the mercenaries that would join the Band of the Hawk. Quote, "How can I put this? Just when you think it looks like he's got some strange wisdom, he seems just like a kid. Just when you think he has a spine-chilling look on his face, he smiles innocently like a baby. Is he a child or an adult?" Quick intermission. Even if it wasn't intentional, that's some crazy-ass foreshadowing. Anyways, back to it. A good guy or a villain? I don't really know what he is. Guts mentally recalls the duality he noticed with Griffith as well. But something about him is different from us. There are things that simple mercenaries like us only hear about in the absurd drinking tales, things that he would think of, and so they were like nothing. I can't really describe it. It's not just his swordsmanship and his tactics. Ordinary people like us don't understand Griffith. It might take him longer than a lifetime to achieve it, but I guess he must have some kind of conviction. Guts asks, and what?
Can I just say this guy's fucking video editing skills and the way that he relays this whole shit is amazing, dude. I'm so deadlocked right now. This guy makes some fucking fire content, dude. This is absolutely, like, I thought about making a Berserk fucking episode, or a video, period. I thought about making a Berserk video, and it's just like, I thought about, oh, I'd do it this way, this way. This guy literally does it so well that it's like, why the fuck would I do it? What's the point? I'm gonna stick to fucking video games and putting out some slop 4 times a week. 4 times a week, and then 1 video game review or episode, whatever you want to call those bitch titties. Hey, I'm gonna stick to that because this guy's got this corner of the internet covered, dude. I don't think this would be any better because of taint jokes. Actually, that's a lie. I'm doing it right now. And anything this guy's dropping down, I'm picking up with the jaws of my fucking cum swallowing mouth.
And Judo responds in everything. It's not whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. It's not whether we really know him or not. Isn't that just how it is when a man gathers other men together? End quote. Not to lose too much focus in regards to Griffith's charismatic nature and what makes him alluring despite his physical beauty, but I think Griffith still pursues his dream at times with the childlike wonder which manifests itself during the calm moments. Maybe part of Griffith still likes to play around like he did long ago on the streets, and the members of the Hawk are just toys for him. But I would be mistaken not to point out that I do think he also just genuinely is a fun-loving person when he can be, and isn't busy killing or avoiding being killed. He's a mystery in a large part to the Band of the Hawk, but his ambitious goal, his conviction, and charisma make him worth following, even if they don't truly understand him, regardless of whether he is good or evil. Quick intermission, this video is actually sponsored by me, or well, more appropriately, my series. For those that aren't aware, I've been working on a series now for a few years. The prototype came out 2 years ago now, and I'm very happy that Chapter 0 was able to drop about a few days before this video's come out. So if you would like to check it out, that would genuinely mean a lot to me. This is something that I hope that I'm able to transition to and explore and get better at, and there is a long way to go. For those that have already checked it out, thank you so much for the love and the
Let's see what if let's see. Where is? That's just a fair use thing. Oh, so it's literally. I thought he was I thought that was put in there, so he was like, oh, in case people react to this shit. Nah, he's just saying it so that he doesn't get in trouble. Do you have to? Do you have to put a copyright disclaimer in this? Do you have to do this? Because I don't do this for jack and shit. I'm over here just fucking winging my willy out like it's the old West days. Back when you could go to a saloon and tuck and fuck with the best of them. Open a new tab. Oh, I thought it said let's look at his cock, dude. I'm fucked in the head, so hard. I mean, this is gorgeous. It looks cool. I don't. Let's see. Look at this. Look at that fucking artwork, bro. Dude, look how fucking sick this just starts, dude. Dude, look at this, dude. This is so... You're an idiot. Yep. Yep. Wait, who's the smoking guy? But it's a win-win. I get paid more and we might be able to do better jobs. Too much risk for just a mite. Besides, there is nothing, no such thing as better unless you're suicidal. We can handle more. If Matthias wasn't so damn stubborn, we could have taken the job that give triple pay months ago. Got some time. Those meetings take half the sun. Oh, wait. I won't stop you, but you might want to leave before he gets here. Got some time. Those meetings take half the sun. Have a beat on what they. Have a bet on what they talk about. I just thought. But yeah, dude, I'm not gonna read all of this, dude. I'm not gonna fucking go through this whole thing. But Jesus, this looks cool, dude. I'd have to read this later. This is really neat. How long is this fucking bitch? Let's get down to something. So, oh, dude. Fucking look at that, dude. Oh, yeah. Now we're getting to some good stuff. Look at that goobly globble blobble. Ooh, he's slam blamming damming it up, dude. He's got the schling bling coming after him, bro, and then the flap dop. Oh man, oh that art is so crispy, dude. That's sick, dude. He's all fucking tore up, dude. Look at how fucking... Dude, he's showing up and just fucking pumping, dumping assholes right here, bro. Look at him fucking go, dude. This is sick. Check out his shit, dude. Check out his shit, bro. I'll link his video in the description, obviously. I try to always do that. Sometimes I forget, but most of the time I try to do that. But yeah, dude. Fucking awesome. The dude has his talent. Absolutely talent-filled jabroni right here.
Support, as well as those of you that take your time to look into it and give your criticisms. Obviously, you can't get pulled in every direction, which people recommend you, but still the fact that some of you sit down to read it and give your genuine thoughts, either ways is dope. So yeah, that's just a quick sponsorship. If you check it out, spread the word, that would be awesome. And back to the video. I think at this point in the story, Griffith is an individual capable of inspiring others and uniting them towards his goal, having moments of childlike innocence, but also a spine-chilling individual capable of anything if necessary. Still, this scene is information being given to the person who would allow us, the audience, to know Griffith more than any other. Guts. The scene after Guts and Griffith have a totally not sus water bucket fight, and Guts takes notice of Griffith's bailet. Given to him by a gypsy, it's the egg of the king, which means he's destined to obtain the world in exchange for his own flesh and blood. The irony. Guts asks, during the battle, why'd you come back to save me? Griffith's response, given the context, is not only in character, but I'm sure genuine, since these two were yet to become friends, something Griffith would seemingly never admit. Having acquired such an excellent soldier, I didn't want to lose him in such a petty battle. Guts, come align with me. This is no more than a single step. The Band of the Hawk, all the victories on the battlefield are the outset. Just the beginning. This is where it starts to get interesting. You can bet your life on that. Once again, extremely ironic. I will get my own kingdom You will fight for my cause because you belong to me. I will decide the place where you die. Now, other than that sounding absolutely fucking crazy to tell another human being, Griffith knows exactly what he wants to achieve. And that's interesting to someone like Guts, who is in search of a dream and goals in life, something beyond surviving. His charisma and confidence is on full display, but at these scenes along with future ones where Guts and Griffith share moments of genuine vulnerability and camaraderie is to pull us, the reader, in. In the same way Guts is inspired, we the reader become inspired, and we get to know this character that we start to care for. Despite the clear negative signs, there is hope that what we saw in the Black Swordsman arc is some sort of twisted misunderstanding. Miura was very intentional into delving into the Golden Age arc as extensively as he did, because by showing us Guts formed this bond to Griffith, we the audience will do the same. We become familiar with his good qualities, his flaws and fears. Betrayal from a stranger doesn't sting anywhere as close as betrayal from those we're closest to. We see the potential of how great Griffith can be. So the bear...
So he's 100% right. The guy's charisma, everything leading up, there's all these signs retrospectively looking back to where you can see that Griffith was a fucking psychopath from the very beginning, and it's not completely out of the realm, because I started with the Golden Age arc. I watched the anime, and it, like, you kind of see it coming. I mean, the dude's got a fucking necklace with eyes and mouths on it. Like, obviously, it's not for good use. I mean, if somebody were to hand me an egg and it's got, like, fucking... all over the fucking sides of it, I'm gonna be like, yeah, dude, take this creepy thing. And they're like, no, but we really want you to have it. But alright, dude. And then I'm gonna put it in like a shelf somewhere, and I'm just not gonna fucking deal with it. I'm not gonna deal with that shit. It's gonna be like locked in 8 safes, because I'm pretty sure it was given to him by a Chinese medicine man, and that shit spawns demon gremlins out of my ass, and I don't want any part of that nonsense. Another thing is just like the way he talks and the way he acts at certain moments, and the only person who really gets to see any different side of him is Guts. It's almost like he's trying to appeal to Guts because he's the only person that he believes will one day stand on his same level, but at the same time knows that he can stand on his level because nobody else can, if that makes sense. It's convoluted in my mind space because it's full of just a bunch of penis jokes and like clitoris jokes, but in there is what I'm trying to say. It's one of those things that you see it coming, but it still doesn't make the brash attack of what actually happens any less hard of a blow, because his charisma is set to like fucking 60,000 and he can steamroll and speedrun any campaign he wants to.
Barrier that was separating us from Guts' sentiments in the Black Swordsman arc and ours is being dissolved as the story goes on, and we aren't even aware of it until it's too late. Before the eclipse even happens, we know this character to be inspiring, driven, ambitious, relentless, charismatic, beautiful, wise, highly capable, calculated, childish, and remorseful deep down, but also immoral, deceptive, possessive, manipulative, selfish, and as we would later see, impulsive when it's something he cares about, and spiteful. The bad qualities are easier to hide when things are going your way, but what is to happen when a man like this loses it all? Prior to addressing that, I think going back to the isolation Griffith deals with, and just how important the idea of living for one's dream means to him is made present in the scene after Guts assassinated Julius and accidentally killed his son Adonis. In a conversation with Charlotte, he explains to her how he believes a person's life should be dedicated to his dream, and how he can't abide by a lifestyle that is simply living. To him, a friend is someone who is his equal, not someone who is under his dream, but if not their own. Despite how close we seemingly got to this character through Guts, it seems there is now this feeling of separation between the two. But Griffith is unaware that the entire time, there was already someone who challenged him like an equal, someone that didn't look up to him but have not walked up to him and punched him right in the face. But these words only push Guts, who was already in search of a purpose, but is now of the belief he cannot find it while being under the wing of the Great Falcon, the Blazing Inferno, simply moving on after warming himself by that campfire for a bit. I delve more into Griffith and Guts and their dynamic and contrast in regards to their dreams and romanticism in general when it comes to Berserk in this video. The overall point in regards to Griffith was his childlike dream, was something he never really grew up from. To him, people are tools for that dream, and his possessive tantrum shows fully when the art of miscommunication reaches its climax as Guts wishes to leave, in order to become a man with his own dream, to truly be Griffith's equal and friend. But Griffith, his closest friend, is abandoning him, even if he won't use that terminology for Guts, the person that offered an escape from his blood-soaked dream and allowed him to be a normal person. This scene is really crazy when you put it into context that this is after Griffith's biggest success he's ever had in his entire campaign, with pretty much a guaranteed path to having a kingdom, but yet this is how he internally thinks about the person closest to him. Quote, "I can't sense your typical brazen fighting spirit. Your eyes remain calm and yet they're poised, devoid of precariousness. So that's how firm you are in your resolve. Do you want to go? Is this how badly you want to leave my grasp? You can't, you can't. I won't have it, I won't let you." He then talks about the fight being decided in one attack, but that he might kill him if not careful, but then he says this, quote, "Even then, if I can't have him, I don't care." End quote. This is how Griffith truly is. He will do anything to achieve what he wants, and do anything to get his way. He would rather his closest friend be dead than off doing his own thing without him.
Kind of based. Not really, dude. No. Dude, here's the thing that Griffith never wanted somebody that was his equal, but he saw Guts close enough to be his equal, and Guts would challenge him, which he hadn't seen before, and therefore it was a more fun game. So he would play on the fact when he would ask Guts things like, "Hey, giggity Jeff Bezos." But here's the thing about Guts, dude. Your new game fucking slaps all sorts of clit. By the way, DOSman, I got DOSman games in chat. Fucking slaps all sorts of clit. Dude, Satan is a fucking dope game. If you want to watch like a great video on it, I fucking made a great video on it. It was really good. I'm gonna fucking suck my own cock for a second. Also, if you want to watch a good walkthrough, don't watch mine. It's terrible. It's fucking awful. But I was like, dude, everybody's always talking about the walkthrough guys, the no commentary walkthrough guys. I'm fucking one of them now. I die a bunch and get lost a lot, but you get to watch all fucking 3 hours and 20 minutes of it trying to figure out how to get the cat to the fucking cultist. Anyways, here's the deal. Here's the fucking deal. I was saying about it's when fucking Griffith is like playing these like mind games where he's like, "Oh, dude, yeah, thanks, buddy. I really appreciate you guys' love back to me. It's why you guys are my favorite publishing people out there. You guys just are awesome. You guys are fucking cool." But it's like he sees Griffith, or he sees Guts as the guy who's going to do pushback, the guy who's going to give him a little bit of a fucking pushback in the thing. So he sees it as a game to see, oh, well, am I a monster? Guts is the only one who can maybe understand me. So I'm going to see how far I can push this. That's maybe another perspective of it. I don't 100% know to be like really skibbity toilet with you or whatever. I don't like 100% know, but that was the vibes I was getting.
Granted, this could be the thoughts in the heat of the moment, but nothing we've seen from Griffith before or after would suggest that his intention would be different. Simply, he might feel some sentiments of remorse after the fact. The fight does not go his way, though, unlike their first encounter, and now suffers a humiliating defeat as Guts leaves him behind. Now, a normal person who has everything ahead of them like Griffith would move on and be fine, since surely it would be nothing more than a rock on the road as Guts thought. But instead, we reach the turning point of Griffith's character. The moment where the cautionary character's flaws lead them to make an impulsive decision that costs them everything. I will delve into the external factors that didn't help or did influence Griffith in specific.
So I'm gonna be real before we get into this part. I had no fucking clue that I thought the shit that he did with this girl was consensual. Now, I've heard in other lore breakdowns that it might not have been consensual, but when I read it, it seemed more of like that, the give and take, like, love thing. But he, instead of like slowly courting the princess and then making his kingdom more powerful and then eventually maybe becoming king himself, he decided to just fucking, I'm gonna speedrun things because I'm fucking pissed that my best friend beat me in a sword fight. Oh no, dude, no more gay sword fights with Guts. That was kind of my initial impression. Now, I have read other places that this wasn't the same way, but it felt more like it was a back and forth, like, oh, don't, but do, but don't, but do, but don't. Now we're having sex. That's what I got from this whole thing. Now we're going to see his perspective. That's just my fucking thought process on it.
But often these...
What he did later was 100% not consensual. There is no fucking tiptoeing around that clit, dude. He just slam-plammed right into it without asking permission.
External factors are used too much as excuses, while ignoring the decisions these characters took for themselves or the glaring flaw or flaws that have led to their demise. Anakin Skywalker, Tony Montana, Walter White, Daniel Plainview, and Griffith are all admirable characters with admirable qualities, but the crack in their armor is shown many times, and when tension is at its highest, they are destined.
Hold up. The guy from There Will Be Blood has like no honorable intentions. That dude was a fucking psychopath. Now, I'm the type, and you might think, he's got some like redeeming qualities. No, dude, he's a fucking crazy person. Everybody in that movie is just fucking psychotic, and that's what makes the movie so brilliant. Now, if you take the same type of guy and then go after like Michael Keaton in The Founder, boom, a great thing. I didn't realize until like a year ago that people thought that Michael Keaton from The Founder was the bad guy. Who watches The Founder and is not like, dude, Michael Keaton is the dream, dude. I want to be the McDonald's guy. I want to be the fucking McDonald's guy. Dude, I thought Michael Keaton was, every time he would do something cool, the fucking two original McDonald's guys were like, we're fucking lame and stupid. We don't want to innovate. We don't want to be real partners. We decided to just be partners so we can pussyfoot you around. You're just supposed to handle the franchise stuff, stupid Michael Keaton. Shut up, you bitch. And Michael Keaton was like, fuck you guys, dog. I'm gonna take your restaurant because you guys aren't fun to work with. And that's what he did. He fucking strong-armed them, which was cool and based because they were fucking woo-woo stupid faces. Now, that might be the wrong perspective, I guess some people might say. I also watched the movie Vice about Dick Cheney and had a lot more respect for Dick Cheney afterwards. Don't know why, dude. I was just like, let's fucking go, Dick Cheney. You're cool for some reason. I've never liked Dick Cheney, but that movie was like, Dick Cheney's kind of a savage.
To fall. And
to be clear, I don't like Dick Cheney. Like, I don't really fucking, he's not really like my guy. I'm not like, yes, Dick Cheney, shoot more people in the face, Dick Cheney. But like, that movie made him seem like a fucking savage. And the fact that he shot somebody in the face and that dude apologized for getting in the front of his shotgun, I mean, that shows like the dude was kind of savage. Even if like I don't agree with Dick Cheney, I thought he was kind of cool. He would have been another great example for that list, other than the There Will Be Blood guy.
Characters we once saw some redeeming qualities in then become irredeemable monsters that we can no longer root for or that we flat out hate. And so even though yes, the external factors can take a portion of the blame depending on which character more or less, it shouldn't completely absolve them from what they themselves did wrong. Griffith sleeps with Charlotte to get over the loss of Guts, which results in the king taking Griffith as prisoner and torturing him for over a year until he is unrecognizable. This was of course a huge overreaction from a wicked man, but why did Griffith feel the need to push himself onto Charlotte to forget about Guts? One explanation is a 3-letter word that rhymes with the word gay, but the best way I've ever read or heard it described came from a comment in the video I linked earlier. Quote, Griffith's tragedy of being a martyr to his dream is compounded by the fact that I believe that he saw the potential to live a normal life when he looked at Guts. In a way, maybe he imagined that Guts could be the only one to save him from martyring himself to his dream. His dream was full of him constantly sacrificing himself, and his friends or hurting himself and numbing himself. I think deep in his heart he realized maybe Guts, the only person not to treat him as his persona but to treat him as a regular person, could convince him to live a happy normal life, pursuing the desires he suppressed for his dream. At that same time, he was most terrified of Guts as for that same reason, someone who can distract him from his dream. Not to mention he was probably struggling with the fear of rejection and disappointing everyone that looked up to him, and letting down everyone who sacrificed themselves for him if he revealed his true self and let down his persona. The mask Griffith wears is completely synonymous to his dream. Femto is the perfect embodiment of the worst traits of Griffith because he had to abandon all his human feelings and essentially sacrifice himself in whole essence to achieve his dream. And that's exactly what he did in the most literal of ways. Sometimes I think more of you should just get a microphone and do this YouTube shit instead, because holy hell. But shout out to David for this wonderful comment who laid this out. As Griffith transforms throughout the process of torture.
Dude, he called me out. I'm not David, by the way. I'm Jeff. I'm King Jiffy Goes. But, dude, doing the YouTube shit. Big fucking deal right here. Look at me. Look at me fucking succeeding on YouTube. Look at your boy. Look at your boy, dude. I'm just doing stuff. I'm wearing a fucking Bo Cephas shirt. If you guys know who the fuck that is, I do. I saw him live in concert. Cool guy. I don't really know how cool of a person he is. Like his music though. You'll have to fucking Google that one, you nerds.
Narratively, this is where after being pulled in close, the betrayal happens, and he becomes the most hated villain in all of anime and manga. When all is going well, the negative traits can be held down, directed only towards those necessary, but what happens when an ambitious individual who has been established as capable of whatever is necessary for the god that is Dream is in his most desperate state imaginable? Griffith's torture over a year underground is by far the most sympathetic you feel for his character, I believe. One could argue that the previous assassinations he was responsible for could justify his punishment, but I think that's a bit of a stretch given those were in retaliation, even if getting those people out of the picture was actually convenient for Griffith obtaining the throne. As well as the mutilating of his body, removal of his tongue, and incapacitation of his legs along with the imprisonment was because of the king's reaction to Griffith sleeping with Charlotte. Excessive is an understatement. Even if this could have all been avoided had Griffith not had a mental collapse when Guts left. On top of the indescribable pain he must have gone through along with the thirst, starvation throughout that miserable year, what Griffith permanently lost for the rest of his life was even more important. A man of beauty and charm stripped of that, his ability to speak, which was often his greatest asset, taken from him, someone capable of winning battles with the sword, unable to wield one, unable to lead or serve as a symbol to admire, a little boy who once ran and played in the streets, unable to run, and the man who climbed corpses towards his goal, unable to climb. If to a man his entire identity is founded not in others who love him and are true friends, but instead his dreams and what others think of him, take away the things people admire and make his dream unattainable, then he has nothing, he is nothing. You know how the cliche goes. In Rescued, he attempts to choke Guts out but is incapable. Casca, the woman who once had eyes for him, now her attention is on Guts. The men who he once led now look towards Guts for leadership. Everything was taken away from him, in his mind, by the person who has abandoned him, even incapable of imposing himself onto Casca, who only accepts him out of pity. To someone like Griffith, this is a fate worse than death. Death seems to be the only escape, until the crimson egg falls into his hands and so commences the ceremony. This is where I want to address two important things before getting into the eclipse. Delving into the external factors in regards to the manipulation of the God Hand, it's important to state that with causality and their ability to predict the flow and manipulate it does not make them all-powerful or all-knowing.
Dude, you know what I love about this whole thing? I'm a really big fan of the movie Hellraiser. I just love the movie Hellraiser. I think it's awesome. I think that what Hellraiser does with sex, actually, I think that maybe there's some inspirations from Hellraiser. Let's see when Hellraiser came out. This is an interesting deep dive right here. Hellraiser 1987. Okay. Their first chapter. Released. When was it released, you fucking piece of shit? First release date. You fucking stupid, dude. You're so dumb. $1988. Huh? How the fuck is it? When I type it wrong, it gives me as a prototype 89. Okay. First volume was released in published in 1989. So there's a good chance that during the concepting of this, during the concepting of Berserk. Now, we don't have any actual indignation of if there is an overlap, but there is a chance that there was some inspiration from Hellraiser in this. And this is one of the things I love, because one thing that really balances this this ceremony out is the same thing that goes on with Hellraiser. It's a lot of overlaps here. But I think this does what Hellraiser did at a much better level, at a much more epic level, with much more. And actually, no. When did the Golden Age arc would have been much later. The Golden Age arc, Oh, go fuck yourself. 2012. Dude, it doesn't tell me, dude. It doesn't. Why is it so bad? List of chapters. Here we go. Golden Age. Yeah, so we're looking at the 90s. So yeah, dude, it was probably influenced by Hellraiser. Like, you can look at this fucker's face right here. This is Hellraiser as fuck. The fact that it's very sexually based. It's probably something that the writer saw that he was like, oh, dude, this is kind of what I'm doing with Berserk, but in a different way. And use some inspiration there. Now, is it a one-for-one? No, but you can totally tell the inspirations. And I think fucking Hellraiser is a peak IP, and this is a peak IP.
And even though they can push events to certain directions, they cannot force someone to make a decision. Still, there is an aspect of discussion in regards to predestination and how much of that plays a role in the life of a character like Griffith, or characters of prophecy in general like Anakin, for example. The external forces that push these characters hold a piece of the blame, but it cannot be used to completely absolve the characters of their misdeeds that they are still responsible for. Another point I want to address is that most people in Griffith's position would make the same choice. I would argue that is more a horrifying moment of self-reflection and an indictment of our selfish human nature, and all because a decision someone makes can be understood from their perspective and relatable if we were to be in the same shoes, does not make it morally correct by default. Characters like these serve as cautionary tales, in the same way a character arc can be seen through a character's want versus need, as is the case with Guts in his quest for revenge. Griffith can be seen as a character whose downfall is a result of rejecting and not realizing his need, being far too obsessed with his want. His want was to obtain a kingdom and living towards his dream, but his need was to appreciate the people closest to him and be willing to find purpose in a life separate from his dream, but he was incapable of doing so. In a series full of grotesque monsters and characters who do the most detestable of things, very easy to hate, which is the point of those characters, Griffith manages to do something that would allow him to stand out, not only within the story itself, but in the entire medium. We have gotten close to these characters, the members of the Band of the Hawk, and they've become like family to us by this point in the story. Yes, even Corcus. Guts and Casca have fallen for one another in a beautiful scene of true love with Wounds Part 1 and 2. These are the ones closest to Griffith, or in his mind used to be, but are still—
Dude, I'm still bad broken up about Casca. I hope that she gets not mentally broken, hopefully. That would be nice. I would like to see them again, and then have beautiful babies in a happy world that isn't something right out of Dark Souls.
Still very close to us, the audience. So during the eclipse, he's presented with his guilt of the past and the path he took, the corpses he climbed to reach the top. Now he can't climb, but what if he was willing to sacrifice the lives of his comrades, those closest to him, so he won't have to climb, but instead, he can have wings to fly straight to the dream that he so badly wants. Quote, "What good is regretting it now? What can I say to the dead now? What good is repenting of my sins now? I can't so much as apologize. This is the path I have traveled, to get what I wanted. I can't apologize. No, I won't apologize. If I apologize, if I repent, everything will come to an end. I'll never get to reach that place." Being egged on by the God Hand, all he has to say is the words, "I sacrifice," in his heart. And as he gets a final look at the one person who made him forget his dream, he does the unforgivable. To add on top of the brutal massacre of those close to Guts and close to the audience, he flies down with his newly acquired wings he wished for and violates Casca in front of Guts to spite him. To be in control once again and to stick it to the one he feels abandoned him and made him doubt his dream. I'm not even going to entertain the people who could defend the character after this. Go be a contrarian somewhere else. This event actually, though, wasn't even supposed to happen, as Miura was having doubts about following through with it, as it wasn't very popular with the readers in Japan. I wonder why, but was encouraged by his editor to continue. The decision to keep Casca alive but in a mind-broken state not only serves as a constant reminder to Guts about why he is hell-bent on revenge, but—
Dude, you couldn't have done it any other way. Any other way would have been disingenuous. See, here's the thing. You look at Postal 1. Now, I know I brought up Postal before in this, but I'm going to bring it up again. You look at Postal 1. I think that the elementary school thing adds to the game, but also takes away from it. I think that the problem with Postal 1 is it's all over the place. It's like artistic in a way, but it's also all over the place. And I think that it really was there just to be that one step too far. The thing about Berserk is the complete opposite, where you can take out the elementary school thing and I think you still have a pretty interesting experience. But if you take this part out and don't and have like Casca just die, or not like have this happen to Guts, it's not as impactful. Yes, it's still fucked that you see everybody die and get brutalized and whatever, but this takes it to a step of depravity that most people see at, like, killing is bad, but that is worse, right? I think so. I think they're in the same ballpark. I mean, especially when you like break somebody to the point that they would have rather been dead. In that situation, seeing everything that was happening, being the survivor from that is it's just awful. Like, I can't, it'd be like putting myself in like a place of like a Casca. There's no way I'm okay after that. There's no way. You watch the person, you slowly watch the degradation of the guy that you fucking idolized, and then watched him destroy every other person you care about, and then absolutely like humiliate and then humiliate you in the most depraved way possible. There is no coming back from that. And to see that broken world, that moment of happiness that Guts has when he sees Casca made it through, and then the realization that she's not there anymore, that she's basically a walking vegetable, that broke something inside of him, and that as a story beat is more powerful than not doing it. Like with Postal, you cannot do it. It takes away from it a little bit, but it still gets its main point there. When it comes to Berserk, I think it loses a lot of the value as over the top and as far as this takes it, which is crazy to me. Getting on a slight tangent right here, it's crazy to me that one of the arguments for this, like a manga not coming out on this, is the fact of like a lot of the sexual tones and a lot of the brutal violence, which I've kind of argued against on some of my other videos. But it's one of those things that I'm seeing this now. They've made the Golden Age arc fucking twice now. Twice. You're telling me the rest of Berserk... I've been reading like the first few chapters of the manga, right? The manga's over here, so that's like, I'm fucking pointing at it. Yeah, I've read some of the manga, and nothing even like holds up to that bad. There's some bad stuff, don't get me wrong. There's some like brutality and some other stuff in there that's pretty gnarly, but there's nothing to the state of that. So I think that argument goes out the wall or out the window. Plus, we have so many violent shows now that are like way over the top anyway, so that I think that Berserk could get made. I think the problem is, one, doing it justice so you can keep it going, and two, just funding. Who wants to fund it when it's popular but it's not that popular?
Just like us, the audience, makes it so that there isn't any closure or separation from that sentiment of hatred, as well as it's easier to put ourselves in the shoes of a character who suffers more than one who is dead. And yes, while the members of the Hawk being killed stung like hell, especially, oh man, Judo's death is, oh man, that scene is, oh, it's so heartbreaking. Even then, the state of Casca, in the state that she's been in, there has been a perpetual feeling of pain and misery that is endured after all these decades. The feeling of betrayal and injustice is constantly reminded to all of us that know this tale. Griffith gets to be reborn into the physical world like a god, send it into chaos so that his kingdom can serve as a false safe haven for humanity, and creates a new Band of the Hawk. So the point that Griffith's kingdom was a safe haven and for the greater good, you can't even give him that because he's saving people from a mess that he started. But during all that, Guts remains haunted by spirits and demons destined to go to hell. Nights of sleep are rare, and he's surrounded by misfortune and misery, missing an eye and an arm, while the child that was supposed to be his and Casca's was tainted by Femto, the shadow of Griffith fully taken over. The love of his life is broken, and when she finally does get her mind back, they still can't be together. The man who sacrificed, given everything he ever wanted, and the one sacrificed against his will to live on.
Oh, I guess she got her mind back. I don't remember her getting her mind back. Well, I guess I haven't got that far in the manga.
In perpetual suffering. The floodgates are open, and now there is a strong connection between the audience's sentiments and Guts, made clear when Griffith returns and Guts goes to lash out in his hatred, but then is stopped by the sounds Casca makes. Choosing to leave behind those he cared about to pursue revenge was a mistake he already made, and now the struggle with Guts' character is that he remains at a crossroads, tempted to do so once again. But yet he's grown. Griffith remains steadfast in what he wants. There is an irony, however, after Griffith went out of his way to see Guts again to prove he had no sentiments about what he did and that he felt nothing, something odd happened. Reincarnating into the world again, he merged with the very child he tainted and was poisoned with the thing he tried to get rid of in order to fly to his dream, his humanity, his desire and need to be close and cared about by those truly close to him, regardless of what he accomplishes. If there's any sense of pity for Griffith, is the tragedy that he once again sits alone in the sky, surrounded by those who only see him and care for him as his persona, but not by those who cared for the man. Why would they? There's nothing left of that person. So even after he achieved everything he ever wanted, on moonlit nights he desires to feel that compassion he sacrificed for his dream, like a child in need of love. So he takes Casca away once again from Guts, once more to leave him in a state of broken despair, on the brink of losing his humanity as well. I think Miura's genius is on full display, given the amount of nuance and discussion that could be had with this character. The name itself creates feeling, the image of a black falcon disguising himself as a pure one to the world. After 30 years, fans still wish to see some form of justice for the actions he committed, but the price to pay for that might be far too steep now. Griffith, the most hated villain in anime and manga, to the point that even suggesting there was someone worse than him arguably got one of my videos to 1 million views. I could probably credit his name being on the thumbnail being like 90% responsible for that. A man who replaced those who looked up to him and those who considered him a true friend for wings.
Dude, chills. Dude, chills. This fucking video. Right, round of applause, my dude. This was so good. This is so good. God. Dude cooked, bro. Dude cooked so hard. Dude cooked so hard. It's just like unbelievably good. Oh God, this was a good video. This was such a good video. Dude, I mean, it's like I want to know how this concludes. I want to get that final fucking conclusion for everything, but it's tough with Miyamoto dead, you know? It's like now it's like slowly trickling out. We're in a kind of a place of limbo where stuff's coming out, but are we actually going to get to see the end? Are they going to just like fucking grind it out, get it all done, say this is the end? This is what he had written down. Here you guys go. Is that what we're going to do? Or I don't know, man. I don't know. That was crazy.